Hi everyone, welcome back to Unpack That. We are in a new surrounding because I'm dog sitting, so if you hear dogs barking, that will be edited out, hopefully. Or if you hear appliances beeping, everything is fine. And yeah, so that's where I'm at, and that's why the surrounding's different if you're watching this. And if you're hearing this, that's why there might be noises in the background. And so yeah, welcome back to another episode. This one will be a bit different because it's going to be more personal to me because I thought talking about my alopecia would be really beneficial for me in a way, just so I can also unpack that and process it. But I also just really wanted to talk about it because it is almost 2 years since I lost all my hair when I started losing all my hair. And yeah, I hope you continue to watch and listen to this. And I know I took a little break because I was sick and doing other things. I got really busy. And so for this, when I came back, I'm like, I think I really want to talk about my alopecia and actually unpack that and process it and help maybe teach other people about what alopecia is. And if they don't know, or if someone does have alopecia, letting them know that they're not alone. Yeah. So I hope you want to listen or watch because it might be a bit different than my other 2 or 3 episodes that might be out. But yeah, so let's start with what made me want to start talking about it. Actually, I'll start with what alopecia is because a lot of people might not know. There is, I believe, 2 or 3 levels of alopecia. One, I believe, is more common than the other, where you just start losing clumps of hair instead of all of it all at once, or you lose all your hair. I have the more severe one, which is, I believe, alopecia universali. I could be pronouncing that incorrectly, but that's where you lose hair everywhere and you have no hair anywhere to be seen. And again, like I said, I got diagnosed with that 2 years ago, and mine was very quickly because I lost my hair starting July, and I believe I officially lost all of it in October the same year. So very 3-4 months, it was gone. And that was very hard and different for me because prior to this, I had very big, black, thick hair. But it was really hard adjusting to that because for me, I am a control freak. And some people might also understand if you also are very into being in control of, oh my gosh, I'm losing my hair. I don't know how to stop losing it or what's even going on because I never had any form of alopecia before, because usually this could go for both of them. I'm not completely sure, but you just lose clumps of hair and you just have various bald spots. And I never had that growing up. And so when I started losing my hair, I thought something was completely wrong and had no idea what to expect. So I started taking various medications to just try to stop it or help to see what it could be. And that was a really hard process as well. And all of these were legally prescribed, and went to doctors and whatnot to see anything, to see what it was. And that's kind of when I was able to find my doctor, my dermatologist. Shout out to him. He's a great dermatologist. And he was just like, yeah, this is what you have. And I was like, great. I'm like, this is amazing. And I remember I Googled it, and I don't know the exact number, but I know it's not a very big number of population of people who have it. And I think that's what I want to dive into because it was a very hard adjustment for me to go from feeling normal and having hair like everyone else to being the outcaster, because crazily enough, I've had people come up to me, and I believe there are some people being very authentic when they ask me if I have cancer, because they might have also had cancer. And I say there's some authentic people because if they did have cancer and they kind of, I want to say I let them tell me their story because I think it's amazing they're doing better. But I do always tell them oh, I'm not sick. I'm actually have alopecia, but I always tell them I'm so glad you're doing better. And I'm glad you're, on the other side of it and everything. Because I always want them to feel heard And that could just be me being nice or my therapist side or whatnot. But I always thought it would be rude if I was just like, oh, I don't have cancer, or if I was just like being rude or anything to them. But there are some people that have come up to me just kind of bluntly asking, and I'm always thought that was interesting because I never thought about going up to someone who's, if I was just bald. I've never just thought of just going up to someone, but maybe because I don't know if it's because I'm a girl or if I look younger than I look. I'm not really sure, but there have been some people that come up to me and asked. And that was a really hard adjustment for me. And if you have alopecia, or if you are at the stage I'm at with alopecia, it will get better, because that was really hard for me. And I didn't like going out at all, because there would not be, at least if I went out once a week, someone would ask me like if I had cancer. And that was a really hard adjustment getting to that, because on the flip side, the other side of the coin, I would have people be like, oh my gosh, your hair is beautiful. Can I touch it? And I'd be like, sure. Or I'd be like, yeah, it's like real. And so it's a crazy, the flip side of it is crazy of how it can go from one being people adore my hair to like the other side of people asking me if I'm sick. And so that's just interesting. And I hope if any of you that have gone through that or are going through that, again, it will get better. For the longest time, I did not want to do anything because of that. And it's gone easier for me, but it does take a while. Another reason why I wanted to talk about my alopecia is because if you watched, what is it? Dallas Cowboys Sweethearts season 2, I think that's the full title of it, on Netflix. Our girl Armani has it. And she talked about how her story with alopecia, and in the cheerleading world, I believe it's kind of similar with the NFL world of my cause, my cleats, but with the cheerleaders, it's their boots. And so her cause was alopecia though. And she talked about it, and I thought it was really cool and inspiring because, like I mentioned earlier, there's not a lot of people, at least the severity I have, that have, and I'm not sure if that's her severity, if she has the very extreme one or not. I can't remember correctly. But if she does or not, a lot of people don't have alopecia. So it was really cool of her just talking about it, because we are I hate saying normal, but we're, the stereotypical non-normal people that don't have hair, because we have this autoimmune disease. And so it was really inspiring watching her and, talking about it and how she decided to wear a wig. And then in that episode, she decided not to because of her cause and everything. And it was just really cool. And of course, I cried during it, because how could I not? And it was really special. And I follow her now, and I love her, and it's amazing. And I wish more people, I don't know. It kind of ties into both. Like, I wish more people knew about it. And if they do, I wish people wouldn't ask me questions about it, I guess. I don't know. I guess it kind of goes back to the first thing of, it's kind of interesting how people will just kind of come up to you and just talk to you, whether it's a negative or positive thing. Again, if it is a positive thing, I take that to heart. But if it's kind of negative, I also kind of, in a way, take that to heart, because it was just a crazy experience. But I don't know. I'm glad it's being talked about more, or at least being more shown in the world, because now that I do have it, it's really hard for me personally going throughout my day and just seeing people with hair, which is weird because I never thought of anything of it before. But now it's more the factor of no one kind of looks like me, and that's really hard. And I think that's another thing I want to unpack, because in a way I touched on it being like stereotypically not normal, or the outcast of society now. Whatever makes you feel comfortable with alopecia, if you want to wear a wig or not, own it, because I think that's amazing. Funny enough, I'm the person that I'm talking about where I wish I knew more about it before, because now that I do have alopecia, I know a lot more about it. I know all the, I don't want to say side effects, but all the health reasons behind it. I know a lot about the autoimmune disease itself with it. And so I wish that's why I say I wish there was more education or talk about it, because it's really not talked about a lot, in my opinion. And there's not a lot of people that I see that have it, which I'm not wishing people did have it, obviously, because it's very hard. But I wish I just knew more people, because kind of in a weird way, like a support group, because I feel like it feels like it's just me because it's only affecting me, but it's because I don't know more people with it. And that's really why I wanted to do this episode too, because again, I don't know who will see this, but if you have alopecia, you're not alone. Like, even if you see how you Google and you see the numbers, like, I'm one of the people. And so you can put a face to the name. And it's weird. It's this weird feeling that's hard to describe. And I don't even know if I'm explaining it well, but it's just knowing that there's other people that don't really look like you. And if they do, it's because sadly, if they're sick or they're going through something or they have alopecia, like, or they could just also have other health issues, or one person did come up to me asking me if this was a choice. And maybe some people it is a choice, and all power to you. And that's the thing, like, you really don't know what goes behind closed doors. And I think that's the big part of how it's so fascinating that people will just come up and ask. I know I keep going back to that part, but it kind of ties in with everything, because you really don't know what anyone's going through. And that's why when there's people that have ill intention, or, it's not a great conversation if they come up to me and ask, I'm like, what if I was sick? What if I was going through something and you were just bluntly, in a rude way, asking me a question? And so that's why it's like, you really just have to be considerate and nice to everybody. Not because, like, well, you should just to be a human being, but also just because you don't know what's going on. Again, my little tangent about that. Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes I get emotional when I see, like, when I watched Armani on Netflix and just seeing her journey about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, she looks like me, like, because she has something similar. And then there was also a NFL quarterback. Ooh, I can't remember his name, but he also has alopecia. And I think it's Josh Dobbs. I think it's Josh Dobbs. I could be wrong. That's so bad if it's wrong. I'm going to look now if it is him, because I will feel completely bad if I just randomly thought of him. Yes, I'm correct. It's Josh Dobbs. He has alopecia. I don't know his, like, specific severity or not, but he has alopecia. And I don't know, it was really cool seeing that, because it's kind of just like I never see anyone that has it, because either myself, I haven't expanded my knowledge of people who have it. I do follow this one influencer. Her name's Chloe, and she actually has alopecia. A former client of mine introduced me to her because my former client had alopecia, and I loved talking to her because it was just going back and forth with our journeys about it. And that was really cool. And I hope it was as inspiring to her as it was for me. But she introduced me to Chloe, and I believe she has the typical alopecia one, but she shaves her head because her hair follicles just it doesn't grow enough for her and all this stuff. But I actually, during my wedding, I used a brand, and she has, like, fake eyebrows, kind of like, if you remember, water tattoos. So, like, you just put it across them with water, and it's, like, tattooed onto your eye. Well, tattooed into your eyebrow area. And that was really cool. I used it and I loved them. They looked great. And so I follow Chloe and Armani, and those are kind of the only two girls I follow that I personally know. So if you know more people with alopecia, or if you have alopecia, I will definitely follow you, because I think that's like more power to the alopecia community. But in reality, like, in all honesty, It's weird. It's this odd feeling, especially because there's a lot of small tasks that I miss, like brushing my hair or like weirdly enough, putting it up in a ponytail. Like, even though that's weird, like working out and doing that. And I think that's kind of what I want to tie into the next segment of just all the little things like that I'm currently mentioning. And just, you don't think you'd miss the little things, but I kind of really do. Or even just like taking a shower. Like, sure, my showers are a lot quicker now, but it's weird because like I mentioned with my alopecia, I have no leg hair. In which some people are like, that's amazing. You don't have to shave your leg hair. It's like, well, I kind of actually miss that. Like, weirdly enough, it's something strange. And I kind of wish I could do that in a way because it was just part of my everyday routine. And if you have alopecia again, like maybe you also feel the same way, or maybe you kind of like that. And everyone's different with it. But for me, like, that's been really hard. And I am on some medication to try to help grow my hair. And it's slowly progressing in some areas. And that ties into, I have a little bit of leg hair. And it's hard because I want to shave it, but I don't. And maybe and if you have it, maybe you feel the same way. Maybe you're like, it's in this weird traumatic way of like, oh, I just got it back. Why I can't lose it again? Or that might just be me. But I don't know. It would be interesting to ask other people with alopecia if they have that same feeling. Because I did talk about it with my husband to like process and unpack it. And he understood, but I also know like it's hard because like he has hair and guys don't usually shave their leg hair, but if they did or not. It's just this weird feeling of, it's just a weird also trigger of like, oh, I'm getting rid of it. Like, I don't know if it will come back. And it's just like little things like that, like shaving and working out. And I don't know. It's just a lot harder, like the little things. And I think that's kind of what's been brewing for me as well. And also how it's been 2 years about when I started losing my hair. And I don't think I officially got my diagnosis until, again, later in the fall of that year. And, I was trying to do all these things of what I thought would be best for my hair and for my mental health itself. And it was really hard. Yeah, just unpacking the little things. Like, even though it was a little brief segment of that, it's just that weird feeling. And I don't know. The little things is important because going all the way back to when I believe I got diagnosed with it, or a little bit before, I remember losing my eyelashes, and I currently have them right now. I don't know if you're watching this. I can't tell if you'll be able to see them, but if you're listening, I do have my eyelashes. And I remember the exact moment I started losing them, and I knew it was like, I can't do anything about it. I was like, they just were falling. It was a very slow process of them falling off, but I remember when one fell off and I was like, okay, it's beginning. And that was really hard. I remember because I always loved putting stuff on my eyelashes or my eyebrows. And I feel like that was a very specific memory I have. I don't remember, I was just talking about this. I don't remember losing like the very last bits of my hair, but I remember losing my eyelashes and eyebrows, and that was really hard. And little things like that. And if you're watching, or if you might be hearing I'm sniffling or like wiping a tear, I do still get emotional about it because I'm still in it and I am still processing it. And it's in a weird way. I was explaining it to like friends or my husband still like at that time processing about how I'm grieving. I'm still the same person, but I'm grieving the old me with hair and the new me with hair, or the new me without hair, I should say. Because for women, I can speak for a woman specifically, I feel like hair is so important to them and it's such a identifying factor. So losing that was super hard. And especially in my situation, I always got complimented on my hair. And so for me, I still get emotional about it because it's just grieving all that over again. And again, I've mentioned this a lot, but again, the 2-year mark of it. And so it's just a lot harder, but I wouldn't change anything because there were people that were, again, total supportive people who want to wear wigs or do any of the things to make them feel the best version of themselves. But for me personally, I didn't feel like myself in a wig. And I loved that people supported me if I did wear one, but I just didn't feel like myself. And that's when I decided not to wear one for my wedding. And I did want to do eyebrows because for me that I felt more comfortable. And I'm very grateful that I had eyelashes and I was able to just enhance them, I should say. But I wanted to feel a lot like myself, and being bald in a way, I feel a lot more like me because even though I don't have hair, I'm still the same person I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. I think that's really cool. And to not just keep ranting, because I do want to tie it up, I think if you're going through something, if you're in the stage like me where you're bald or you're losing hair or you're in the early stages of it, I want you to feel like yourself. And I don't want anyone to make you feel odd or different or weird. And if you feel like that with yourself, just remember, like, you're still amazing and beautiful and perfect the way you are. Just because you're bald doesn't mean that changes anything about yourself. Unless you become an evil person after you go through this, then maybe. But you're still the same you. And I think that's the really cool part is I feel like for me at least, having my alopecia really just stood my ground of okay, I'm still the same person. Nothing's different. And it just kind of more enhanced, or what should I say? It really just stood my ground of I know who I am and I'm proud of who I am. And I want you to be proud of yourself. And I think that's what's really special. Even though 2 years ago was the worst thing in my life. I wanted to just, combust and whatever. But 2 years, me and future me, me now, if I could tell her back then, everything's okay, that's really cool. And I want you to feel the same way. And I really hope people that do have alopecia see this because I don't know. Maybe there again is a community out there that, I would love to get tuned in. But I really hope people are able to see how powerful alopecia can be, even though it is very hard. And it still gets hard. Right now, as I said, as you can hear or see, I am getting a bit emotional, but it's more just, processing and unpacking. And that's what I wanted this episode to be about. It's just, talking about, how people responded to it, how people might feel outcasted or not normal in society because of it. And also just maybe the little things that are hard. I wanted to, talk about all those things because those are all real things. And at least for me, that's how I felt. And, other people might feel that. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. And, I've ranted or yapped, I would like to say, for almost 30 minutes. Hopefully it all made sense and had a good segue for each one. But I kind of was just going with the flow of what I was thinking of. But yeah, 2 years is crazy. It's been crazy. It's been 2 years. It's been crazy. It's, the progress in my hair that I little have and processing of how I really feel. And that ties into, ending the segment what's in my bag. If you have alopecia and you haven't seen Inside Out 2, that movie really messed me up because it talks again about touching on my last segment, kind of core values of yourself. So that was really emotional. And then, so watch that. I recommend. Or if you don't have alopecia, you should watch it for yourself also because it is really about core values and it's really cool. And then also The Barbie movie was really good to watch. That's just a powerful movie in itself, in my opinion. I really loved it. And so, I did see Barbie when I started losing my hair because it came out 2 years ago, Barbie summer or Barbenheimer summer, whichever you want to call it. And it was really powerful at that moment too, because when I started losing hair, especially the last segments, like the last montage, I should say. And so, yeah, I recommend Inside Out 2 and the Barbie movie in general, or especially if you have alopecia. And yeah, that is this episode for Unpack That. Thank you for listening or watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.